Michael took 12 hundredths of the block of cheese. So let's write this out. Maxon took 12 out of 1,000 because the 2 is in the thousandths place. So that's going to be 12 over 1,000. Now let's look at Michael. Michael has the 2 in the hundredths place. So that's going to be 12 hundredths. 12 out of 100. Who has more, Maxon or Michael? Let's go back up to the picture and see. So here are the thousands, and here are the sticks, the hundreds. Would you rather have 12 cubes or 12 sticks? Which one is more? Just looking at it, we know that the sticks are bigger, so if you have 12 of these, you have more than if you have 12 cubes. 12 out of 1,000 or 12 out of 100. What would you rather have? Which is more? So here is a visual of it. Michael took 1/10, so a slice, and 2 hundredths and 2 sticks. While Maxon took 1 stick and 2 cubes. Or Maxon could have done 12 cubes and Michael could have done 12 sticks. Either way, it is the same amount of cheese. Either way. But we can see that Michael has more. Okay, so here is an important part of the lesson. Is 4 hundredths the same as 40 thousandths? Oh gosh, that's a tough one. So I'm going to write it out. What is 4 hundredths? I'm going to have a 0, decimal, 0, 4. That's in the hundredths place. So that's 4 hundredths. Now 40 thousandths. 0. So the 0 right here in 40 needs to be in the thousandths place. Because just as we did up here with Maxon, you see how 12 is the last number? That's why we did 12 thousandths. 2 is in the thousandths place. So we are comparing this number versus this number. What is different about these two numbers? That 0 right there. Well, fun fact. There is a 0 right here. We just don't reveal it because we're not using it. There's no point. These two values are the exact same thing. If I asked you for 4 hundredths cheese and you asked for 40 thousandths cheese, we would get the same amount. 4 hundredths and 40 thousandths is the same thing. The only difference is that 0 is revealed. And we're going to use 40 thousandths when we're adding or subtracting. There's a reason why you would say 40 thousandths versus 4 hundredths. So let's say I have 40 thousandths. Minus, no, I'll make that 40 hundredths, excuse me. And I'm subtracting 3 thousandths. Well, how would I do that? I make it 40 thousandths by putting that 0 there so I can subtract easily. So now I'm just doing, what's 40 minus 3? And because we put that 0 there, it makes subtraction a lot easier to tell us 37 thousandths. That's why we would reveal the 0, because we're using it. If we're not using it, it's okay to just put 400ths. These values are the same thing. And we saw that in the problem with Maxon and Michael's cheese. Why did Michael have this 0 revealed? So if we wanted to say it, we could say 12 hundredths or 120 thousandths. Because that 0 is revealed. And there's probably a reason why we would want to do that. If we're subtracting or adding, let's do adding now. So if I was adding, let's say I was adding 12 hundredths to 7 thousandths. I would want to put that 0 there so I could add easily. That's why we reveal the 0, so we can use it. But we know when we're comparing the values of decimal points, we need to go place value by place value, and we start from the greatest one. So the greatest place value shown between 12 thousandths and 120 thousandths is the ones place. That's the greatest place value shown here. So that's where we begin. And we're trying to see which value is bigger. So let's do it place value by place value. We're going to start at the ones. So who has the bigger ones place? Maxon or Michael? Well, they both have 0 in the ones spot. So it's a tie. Next, we go to the next place value, which would be the tenths. So who has the greatest tenths? Maxon has a 0, Michael has a 1. 1 is greater than 0, so Michael wins. That's one way we can compare who has the bigger value. What number is bigger? Or we can just look and remember our place value chart. Let me go to the top. Here's our place value chart. So the further away we get from the decimal point on this side, the smaller it gets. So the tenths is small, hundredths is smaller, smallest. And remember what we did with the cheese. We started off with 1 and we divided by 10. When we divided by 10, we moved 1 place value. Then I had 1/10. Well, I divided by 10 and I turned my slices into sticks. And then I got 100ths. Now I have sticks. Slices, sticks. We started off with a block. Well, I divided by 10 again, and I decreased my place value. And I ended up with cubes. I ended up with 1,000 cubes, 1,000ths. So when we divide, we decrease our place value. So when we divide by 10, we decrease 1 place value. But what would happen if we divided by 100? What would happen to our place value? How much would we decrease by? We would decrease by, if we divided by 100, we'd go 1, 2 place values. We would end up with 100ths. If I divided by 1,000, I would decrease 3 place values to get 1,000ths.